What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Elementary Season 6, Episode 4, Our Time Is Up. So this one it felt like more of a return to form for Sherlock. Definitely, he felt more like himself. They didn't even really bring up, they talked about his headaches and like sitting in that saltwater tank apparently helps with the headaches. But they didn't really bring it up much at all, which I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, because after the last episode, it seemed like, oh yeah, he's going to take a few weeks off, and then he doesn't. So I still don't really know how to feel about this whole storyline to begin with. Um, I mean, it feels like they could take it in interesting ways, but then also, because this is more of an episodic show, it doesn't feel like something you can dwell on for too long, because you have to have him be solving a mystery for every episode. So it's not like you can just take a break for a week and say, all right, guys, no mystery. We're just going to deal with Sherlock, getting over his headache and getting over the memory loss he's been having because of his bump to the head. I don't know if it would work in a show like Elementary. If it were something where, if it were like Sherlock, the BBC show where they have longer episodes, I could see them spending like 30 minutes of an episode just to deal with this. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird storyline. It's kind of like if you were watching a superhero show and one of the heroes lost their powers, like the main hero lost their powers for a few episodes. It would be kind of weird. Yes, I'm looking at you, Flash. Um, but yeah, like it would feel weird not to see them being the superhero that you came to watch. So I'm still kind of up in the air about how I feel about the storyline. Like, it definitely is a part of Sherlock that's not been tackled in any other form of medium that I can think of. But I think there's probably a reason for that. So, but yeah, this mystery was actually pretty interesting. It did keep me interested. It was like, okay, I'm following the steps that are being taken. You're following. It's still a little too much. It still feels like there's one too many steps from going from, okay, so we're looking at her patients. It's not any of her patients, so now we're gonna look at her doctor friend. Okay, it doesn't look like it could be him, but then this one guy, he's kind of smarmy a little bit. He's a business owner. He owns the building, and on top of that, there might be something with a listening device, which means he would be the one to have access to that. Oh, and he really seems like he's guilty, but then all of a sudden this other guy comes in and he's like, I know, I have information that proves he's not the one that did it. But then he has information that proves who did do it, and it turns out to be your doctor friend. It's like, if they just take out one of those steps or one of those misleads, I feel like these cases would be a lot better. But it feels like they want to try to throw so many different angles and so many different, oh, you think it's him, but it's not, it's him. It just feels too much, and it really bogs down the episode, which is a problem. So I hope they can start to streamline a few of these cases as this season goes along. Um, because for the most part, like, this was an interesting case. It just really felt bogged down near the end of it, where I'm just like, okay, can we just get to the point already? Also, how ironic that the guy I just watched, Criminal Minds season 13 finale, and the same guy that they suspected of being a killer that turned out to not be the killer in that one turned out to be a killer in this one. Just goes to show that's what I want to be. I don't want to be some big movie star. For those of you who don't know, I'm a struggling actor. I don't want to be some big movie star. I would love to just be somebody like this guy that just kind of pops up in a few different shows here and there as like side characters. That would be cool. Could I just get that, please? Like, hey, directors, come talk to me. I can act. It may not seem like it watching these videos, but I promise I can. Anyways, but yeah, so overall, pretty solid episode. We'll see, where these next two take us. Michael apparently was out of town for this one. Still waiting to hear more of his story, but I feel like, knowing how these CBS shows work, you think like Criminal Minds and NCIS and shows like that, these big stories don't really take effect until like mid-season finales or season finales. But until then, they're just side stories. I really wish they would stop that, because I want something to grasp onto. I want a story like that it takes a few episodes to get through, not just, oh yeah, he popped up in the first episode, he popped up in the third episode, maybe he'll pop up in episode 6 or 7, but we're not going to see him for a while. We're not going to find out what happened with his story until near the end of the season. So, but anyways, all that being said, though, that's about it for this episode. So now on to the next one. See you in a second. Now, episode 5, Bits and Pieces. So, this one was also pretty good. The case surrounding it kind of fell off near the end. Once again, kind of felt like too many moving pieces, or too many not moving pieces for this one. It was more just too much of a, okay, so we're gonna go here, then we're gonna go here, then we're gonna go here. It just kind of bounced from place to place near the end, and it didn't really feel as connected as the first part did. Because I mean, it had a pretty good setup. They're researching this case of this woman who passed away, and her house burned down as well, which kind of was also felt similar to what happened with the guy that got shot in the Renaissance, or the reenactment. But anyways, they're researching this case, and then Joan gets back to the house, and Sherlock has no idea what happened. He's got a head in a bag. I mean, it's a good setup. But then things just kind of fell off the rails from there, because then we find out that, well, once we find out they're connected, that's where things start to get a little too convoluted. Again, it feels like if they would take out just one little extra piece, or one piece of misdirection, it feels like these cases could be a lot more concise. Because then you could spend more time building up the case, or you could spend more time on the stuff with Sherlock and his memory in this episode, which I still think is being handled decently enough. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but they're at least telling the story well. I feel like you could devote more time there if you would take out one little extra piece. Yeah, I don't know where you would take it out in every episode, but it just feels like each of these episodes so far, there's just that one piece of misdirection, or that one extra step before you catch the bad guy. I don't know. It always feels like it just drags on a little too much for me. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt here too. Like, I don't even remember exactly which part I started to feel it, but I think the moment that I definitely knew I felt it was whenever Joan had the paper, and she was describing kind of the idea of, oh, if somebody's cells were like able to be immune to this, they would be invaluable. And it's like, oh well, well, who should we look into? It's like, well, the person who wrote this paper, and then all of a sudden it's the woman doctor, and they're convicting her in their next scene. Like, I don't know. I was like, how did we get to the paper? Like, what did we get here? I just it felt like it was one too many steps for me. Anyways, I know I talked a lot about that. Also, kind of doesn't date well, talking about a virus coming out of China. Also, the stuff with Sherlock in this one, I feel like they're doing a good job of incorporating it more into the story now. The last couple episodes, it felt like it was just sort of tacked on, like it didn't really affect anything. This one, it definitely affected the plot. We see he gets this head. He goes out and does some research. He steals the head to sort of help with the case, but he doesn't have any idea what he did the past 6 hours. He's just like, I just got a head in a bag. I don't know. I don't remember how. And then on top of that, dealing with Gregson, finally having to admit what he's been dealing with, which I feel like is long overdue. And I gotta say, Gregson's reaction was really good. Most of the time, to see a character like Sherlock be kind of put down by a police chief, most of the time Sherlock, if he's working with the police, he sees them as his tools. But in this show in particular, they've done a good job of building them up as a team. So it's not just so much like, oh, Sherlock just is better than them and he can just do whatever. They do need the help of the police to handle certain cases, because it's not like Sherlock has the ability to arrest people. Like, he needs the police to help him, or else he wouldn't be able to just arrest these people. So I like how they've sort of got this team aspect where this feels natural. This isn't Gregson chewing him out and Sherlock just sitting there like, oh, whatever, I'm the best detective there ever was. Like, this version of Sherlock feels like, yeah, he should be put down for this, because he should know better than to not trust Gregson as much as they've been through, as many cases they've worked on together. Like, Gregson trusts him. Gregson appreciates his help. In most of the other iterations of Sherlock, the police don't like Sherlock. They're just like, God, coming in here making us look stupid. Gregson actually appreciates the help that Sherlock does. So the fact that Sherlock did betray his trust and didn't tell him about this, even if it is a private matter, it's still something that he should know about. And I wouldn't necessarily say they're friends, but they're close enough to where he should be able to tell him that. And so I completely understand his decision. At the beginning of the episode, when he says, go get tested by the doctor, and at the end, when he's telling him, look, I said whatever the doctor says is good, but that's not, I don't agree with it. But my word was, I said whatever they say goes. And since they say you're good to go, we'll let you on. But I'm keeping my eye on you. And if I see you gaming the system at all, if I get any sort of hint that you're not playing along, you're done. I completely respect that. And of course, Sherlock, he talks a big game like, oh, this other place has a ton of crime. I'll probably just head up there. But to be perfectly honest, he would not be able to do what he does most other places. What he has here with Gregson and Bell, like working with him, is very rare. And I think there's a part of him that knows that. So, I don't know. I really just, I thought that was very well done. I thought that was a very good moment for Gregson's character, because sometimes Gregson and Bell, they just sort of get pushed off to the side. They're just the cops that are there to help out. But this was a moment that I feel like really shined for him. So I thought, well done there. But yeah, overall, just kind of another episode. Michael did come back in this one, still not much there for him. Waiting for that season finale, or mid-season finale to kick in, and then we'll find out what's going on. But anyways, with that being said, on to the next episode. See you guys in a sec. And now, episode 6, Give Me the Finger. With pleasure. It was actually the pinky. I don't know what to know with the pinky. It's late. I'm tired. Don't judge. Alright, but yeah, so this one, another pretty good case. Nothing too special. I did enjoy sort of how they managed to figure it all out. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was good. I like kind of the Yakuza inclusion in it as well, because I kind of figured, honestly, most of the time when it comes to shows like this, there are some cases like this one where they bring up this whole thing like, oh, this guy was former Yakuza. Clearly, he must have been killed by another Yakuza. That he's in a dangerous lifestyle. That's got to be it. And then it ends up having not much to do with the case. I mean, obviously the fact that he was Yakuza did matter, but it didn't really have much to do with why he was killed in the first place. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it for the most part. I enjoyed the story behind it. I also did enjoy Sherlock and Gregson getting to have a little bit of a moment about Gregson's daughter. But the big talking point for me for this one has to be Michael. I didn't catch it in the last episode. I only caught it whenever they did the previously on Elementary at the beginning of this episode. When he was talking to the group in the last episode, he was talking about how he had a friend that he wanted to try to get his attention. For some reason, it didn't click with me. He was talking about possibly killing another person to get Sherlock's attention. And then by the end of this episode, sure enough, there's another girl. It was really interesting because he called that one girl, Hannah, out about backing into her car. Maybe he didn't know whose car he was backing into. But yeah, he called her out there to talk to her about it. And then he was like, let's exchange information. And then next thing you know, Hannah's roommate has been killed. And of course, she's also blonde, so I guess he probably is a serial killer. He seems to have a type. But yeah, I'm curious to find out why he seems to have an obsession with Sherlock. Like, I wonder. I guess maybe it's because Sherlock inspired him to, like he said, he inspired him to continue what he was doing. So maybe he was just a serial killer who went into hiding, decided to stop, and then Sherlock inspired him to continue doing it. And now he's like, I need to keep killing, and I want his attention. Please give me attention. Please search after these girls. Please come try to catch me. It's very intriguing, and I'm wondering where this is gonna go. Like, what's his backstory gonna be? Because I feel like the first step is gonna be Sherlock realizing what's going on. I also noticed, I think it was last episode, he came to talk to Sherlock, and Joan wasn't there to talk to him. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, because Joan even said something to Sherlock about this, like, how come I haven't met him yet? And of course, the joke was, he was like, I'm not dating this man. But I'm curious to find out why she hasn't met him yet and what that would entail when she does. Like, I feel like there has to be a reason why. They couldn't have just. Unless this is just something where, oh, just coincidentally, Joan hasn't met him yet, and whenever she does meet him, maybe nothing will happen. But they made a point of drawing attention to the fact that she still hasn't met Michael. And then even when he comes to the flat, she still didn't meet him in the last episode. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen whenever she does meet him. Maybe somehow she knows him. I don't know. But his story does have me intrigued. So overall, I mean, this episode, it was good. It was enjoyable. I did enjoy the case a bit more in this one than some of the other ones so far this season. But yeah, overall, it's been fun getting back into it. Getting back into the elementary story. It feels more like Sherlock this season than it did in season 5. Like, he feels more like the detective than I expect him to be. Picking up on little clues that people are missing. So I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed these 3 episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future elementary reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.